Hello, you're watching Everard Junction again, and today is the beginnings of yet another project for the layout. So you've already seen that I've got the canal scene just there. That is in still work in progress, but we're getting nearer to finishing that off. I've also redone a huge amount of scenery all the way over to the tunnel. I also did the baseboard levelling, and I've redone the scenery at the top of the tunnel. You can see the forest is much improved. It's got a load more trees up there and bushes, and it looks much more like a wild forest. And you can't see the back scene apart from obviously top areas like that, but down the bottom it's very overgrown. So I finished doing all of that. We've been working along here doing all of this, as you know, the canal scene obviously. Here we've got the scrapyard. I'm going to leave it for the moment. It's staying, but it's a very useful workbench, and to be honest, while I do all this scenery, there's a lot of moving from here to here with all kinds of glues and materials and bits and bobs, and if this was all beautifully done, I would probably damage or break bits. As you can see, I've already got a casualty, and a bit of fence here has fallen over. So this sort of area I'm leaving for the time being, but that means I can work on the new suburb scene over here in the back corner. I've already started on the very early stages of this. As you can see, the woodwork is in, and using some paint I've done a rough representation of where I would like the road to go, although that may not be the actual final position, but I'm going to be playing around with ideas. Over here I've done a little bit of scenery that just ties in with this over here. There'll be another tree to go in there and a few more bits and bobs, but it's looking good. And then here, if you excuse all the mess, is the retaining wall, which you've seen before. That runs all the way along the back side. And now finally the additional pieces turned up, and I've put those in, so the warehouses have now gone, and this is one continuous run of retaining wall. It needs to be painted. As you can see, there is a subtle colour change between the older pieces and the newer pieces, and there are places where you can see the joins because of the glue, so it will all be painted, but I'm really happy with that. That makes it for a great look all the way along. There you go. So, done that. Town scene again, still being worked on over here. So now it's time to finally sort out that back corner. Working on it over here is somewhat difficult, so I have designed it to be removable. It's not attached to the retaining wall, and it is also not attached to the scenery over here. I put some wood screws into the tops of the board. As you can see, there's one here, there's also one further along, and that just enables me to lift the entire thing. So you have to be careful, but you can then lift it completely out. And then I can take it somewhere else and work on it more easily. Okay, I brought it downstairs to my room, and I'm going to work on it in here. It's nice and flat, plenty of room for me to get around all sides of it. So first thing I'm going to do is plan out where the buildings are going to go and what the rough layout of the scene is going to be. Okay, so I've been busy working out dimensions and positioning of things, and just sort of getting an idea of what I want the town scene to look like, and I'm pretty happy with how it's going so far. I've got this Hornby Scaledale newsagents. That's a nice building. I've had that for years. In fact, I think they put a code on the bottom of here. Yes, they do. There you go. That's how old that one is. So that's a nice building, but most of it's going to be complemented by the new stuff that's arrived today. I've got some 1970s detached houses. These are made by Backman. They're part of the Scenecraft range, and this is very similar to the style of house I was considering to scratch build. Now, as I've said, I don't really have the time to go ahead and scratch build that many buildings. I would have enjoyed doing it. Would have been nice to build one and, you know, put it down on the layout and go, yeah, that's cool. The problem being, now build the other four. That's what I didn't want to do. There's going to just be so much time involved. And I think these are really awesome little models. The quality is just, it's staggering how good these actually are. They're just made from one piece of resin, as you can see, and with a little bit of extra painting effects and some weathering and changing of colours of windows, drain pipes, doors, stuff like that. They'll look really cool and individual. So I've got this area mapped out. So this will be the area that's closest to the railway line. The retaining wall will be running along here, and as you can see, I've got several of these houses to put along here. So this will look a bit like a new estate, a new row of houses, a new development. And then across the road, which is up for some changes. Across the road, not entirely sure what's going to go over there yet. I mapped out some more houses, but I think actually I'm going to put some of the older buildings over there to make it look like this is the older section of the suburbs. And then between the railway line and the existing road, there was a new development put along here. I think that'll look really cool. Over here on the corner, I wanted to put a little bit of small industry, and I thought, what would be a good idea? Well, your local friendly garage. Every village used to have one of these at the end of the road, a mechanic where they could bring their cars and get them fixed. It's nicely decorated again, part of the Bachmann Scenecraft range. I did look for Hornby Scaledale stuff, but almost all of it is on pre-order. There's not very much in stock at the moment, so I went for the Bachmann Scenecraft stuff. But I'm very pleased with it. This is nicely detailed. I may change the artwork into perhaps a more recognisable brand, maybe a Quick Fit or something. But yeah, that's a nice little building. Now I come down to the end. This is a tricky corner. You're not going to be able to put full-size houses here, not without surgery anyway to some of them. So I've gone down the low relief route, and I've got some more, again, Bachmann Scenecraft, because there just isn't any Scaledale stuff in the shops at the moment that fits the sort of modern type of housing that I was trying to do. So I've got these little townhouses, nice and thin, and they'll sit up there. I have a row of 4 of them. Just get that to stand. The concrete here will be hard standing, a pavement if you like, for cars to park up. So the cars will park there in front of the garage, and then we can have more of them going alongside. Just got to be careful that I can get them to stand up. I think they look really nice. And then obviously this will be just a bit of road. The wall will be along the edge here, so this will be the dead end. Then go out past the garage, and then you can get onto the main road. Go that way. So still lots of planning and positioning and messing around to do, but on the whole, I'm very pleased with it. It's getting there. And now I've got the buildings, I can actually really get going with the scene, because I know where all the buildings are actually going to go. Okay, done quite a bit of work, and I'm just basically putting in the pathways using my traditional method. That method involves making curbstones using matchsticks. I just glue them to the board with PVA glue, and then I fill the gaps between with polyfiller to get that concrete tar, sort of poured pathway sort of look. And it's coming along nicely. Done all the way down here as well. There's a closer look of what I'm talking about. Put a slight sort of edge insert in there that just allows that building to fit in exactly the right place that I want it to be in. And we've done the hard standing over where the garage is. It's all still drying at the moment. It'll need sanding afterwards, but shouldn't need too much. And then I'll touch up any bits where there's some noticeable dips and bumps. I also paste the polyfiller onto the road surface in various areas in varying amounts. I do this to get rid of any gaps, imperfections, holes and screw heads, and it also provides a nice texture for the road surface. When I paint this, you're going to have different textures and bumps and undulations that are going to look more like a real road. This is what I'm going to go for. These are Hornby Scaledale buildings. I've had them all since about 2006. So they're reasonably old now, but they're just as good as any modern Scaledale stuff. They're all done to the same standard, all the same resin and everything. You can see the marks where they used to be glued to the old layout. Okay, so I'm going to just start gluing in the matchsticks. I'll just use these to represent the curbstones, and they also double as a mould for the polyfiller. When I come to a corner, what I do is I take a pair of wire cutters and I just put some little slits into a matchstick at regular intervals, and that weakens the structure of the stick and allows you to bend it, which then means you can do nice smooth curves. Okay, I put the outer edge in, so now I'll move the buildings, do the inner edge, and then leave it all to dry before I actually put the polyfiller in. If you do it when it's wet, you find that as you smooth the polyfiller, the matchsticks come adrift and you get a nasty mess. Okay, I've laid the pathway on the right hand side. That's just the first layer and it is still drying at the moment. I'll be hitting it with a top layer just to smooth things off, and then I'll sand it. All the other stuff has now fully dried and has been sanded. And it's looking much better, so I'm going to start with the paints. I'm going to start painting up some of the areas that are ready to go. I've sanded the area where the garage is going to go. I've just popped it on top for the moment, and you can see where I've done the area where there's no curb, so that it's easier to get cars in and out of the garage. That's the pathway comes around there, and then I've sanded some of this as well just to take the edge off it a little bit. There's some interesting textures going on in there, so that'll look good as and when I paint it. We take the garage off. There's the actual base that it sits on. I'll be painting up the inside of that, and the interior of the garage here is a nice little space, so I'll probably add some sort of interior, a desk and some customers. Okay, I've been busy with the paints. I've done the tarmac and the curbstones. I sanded the pavement down on this side as well. Did all of that. It still needs a few bits of touching up and extra bits of paint added on, but it's looking good. I'm quite happy with the tarmac shade. It's a mix of different colours, but I think it looks quite good. I didn't want it to be too black, because then it looks a bit fresh. But yeah, it's looking good. I'm just mocking up where the buildings are going to go on this side. I've got a little garage as well over there for that house there, and I've painted on the road markings. Just used masking tape, just Tamiya masking tape, and just painted those on. So it should be dry. So I'm going to peel it off, see what areas need to be touched up afterwards. That's looking really good. There's a couple of little bits I need to touch up, but nothing too serious. So I'll go ahead and sort that out. Okay, I've been busy doing a few more bits since you've last seen it. Basically what I've done is I have begun the sort of front lawns for the houses, and I have made the driveways. As we can see, each house has like a gravel driveway. It's a nice texture. And I've just painted it with a mixture of Woodland Scenics earth paints. It's looking pretty good. It's looking a bit uniform at the moment. I'll add some individuality to the gardens. Some will have flowers, some will have bushes, some may just be lawn like this. The cars will be changed around as well. Obviously everyone on this street will not be driving a red Fiesta, but I've got these down here just so I can mock things up and see how things look. The grass is still drying at the moment, so I will leave that for now and move on to this side, and also getting the board painted at the back here. I'm just going to paint it brown because these will be the back gardens for the houses, and I need to sort out the corner over there as well where the townhouses are.